there you go. Crap weather for tomatoes, courgettes, cucumbers, but rhubarb, my days. That's the best we've ever done. So there's 4.6 kilograms of rhubarb, cleaned and chopped into 1/2 inch or smaller pieces. The bucket is clean and sterilised. Now I'm going to put 2.8 kilos of sugar over the rhubarb, then mix it in. You can cover it with a tea towel at this point or whatever. I'm just going to use the lid just to stop any bugs getting in there. Back in 3 days. Okay, so it's been 3 days since the rhubarb has been sitting on the sugar. That's drawn a lot of the liquid out by the look of it. So the next step is to cover it with water. Now I've doubled the recipe, so I need 8 litres of boiling water, and I'll pour that over the rhubarb and then put it through a strainer. Okay, so it says to boil the water for 5 minutes, let it cool down to lukewarm and then pour it over the rhubarb. I'm not sure why you boil it for 5 minutes, but there you go. Now I'm just going to stir it to dissolve what sugar is left. Now I've got to strain out the rhubarb. So I've got my brew bag. You can use muslin, whatever you fancy. I mean, you could even just siphon it off, but I'm going to go with the brew bag. So now is the time to take the hydrometer reading, which I've done. It's about 1060, which will work out about 7 to 8%. If you fancy it stronger, just add a bit more sugar at the start. So a teaspoon of yeast nutrient per gallon. 2 teaspoons of tannin, or 2 mugs of strong black tea. Then 2 teaspoons of yeast. Give that a good stir. Okay, so now I'll leave it in the bucket for 5 days, and then I'll put it into, rack it into demijohns. And they'll be in that for about 6 weeks. So the rhubarb has been fermenting for 5 days. Got a couple of demijohns cleaned and sterilised. Siphon, cleaned and sterilised. Now the aim here is to rack this off into the demijohns and try not pick up any sediment from the bottom. A little's fine, but you don't want to get too much at this stage. So at this stage we really want to minimise how much the oxygen gets into the wine, so I'm just aiming the tube at the side of the demijohn so it just runs down the glass instead of doing that and creating air bubbles. So I've just re-sterilised the bungs. You can fill these with boiled and cooled water or like sodium metabisulfate solution. The airlocks, that is. If they run dry, then obviously your wine will spoil. So just keep an eye on that. So the demijohns are upstairs bubbling away as we speak. The recipe says give them 6 weeks, then back sweeten if you want, treat with potassium sorbate, which will kill the yeast and stop fermentation picking up again, and bottle. Now, if it hasn't cleared in 6 weeks, treat it with either a Camden tablet, a bit of sodium metabisulfate or potassium sorbate. That will protect the wine from turning into vinegar, and just rack it off into another pair of demijohns and wait for it to clear. And you can leave them in there for like a month or a few months before bottling. And again, potassium sorbate, kill the yeast, back sweeten and bottle. Jobs are good. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me, and I hope it inspires you to make some country wine, because it's good fun, bloody cheap and tastes great. All right, see you on the next one. Cheers.